it goes to Lake St. Clair. So in the end, we have a lot of, and you guys aren't going to be able to see this because the graphic's too small, but we have a lot of energy and time going into our treatment plants. So this is a drinking water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plants, a lot of energy changing the cycle of our water. Our hydrologic cycle is quite different from the natural setting, okay? We have a lot of human energy and power put into this. So it's real important that we really are cognizant of how much water we're using, what we're doing to that water, so that we can try to use this most efficiently. So there's a couple things you guys can do. The first thing is conserve water. And how many people take a 5-minute shower? Raise your hand. All of you should be raising your hand. We all take longer than 5, unless you guys all stink. All right, more than 5 minutes? Who takes more than 5-minute shower? 10-minute? 50-minute? Okay, 15-minute? Okay, so some of you take a 15-minute shower. 15-minute shower consumes approximately 150 gallons of water. Okay? 150 gallons of water. One milk jug is a gallon. 150 of those you're using if you take a 15-minute shower. So just think about that, okay? How many of you leave the faucet running when you brush your teeth? Okay? Another huge waste of water. Taking little steps, conserving water, is a great way to help preserve your Great Lakes. Another way you can conserve water, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, is washing your car on lawns and things like that, but we'll get into that a little bit later. The other key thing that you can do is dispose of waste properly. Recycle. I know you guys have an e-recycling here. That's really incredible. You guys are ahead of the curve for a lot of Michigan schools. But dispose of waste properly means not pouring old oil in the lawn, or if you see people doing that, please try to educate them so they don't continue to do that practice. Pouring pesticides, pouring other types of waste down drains. The third and fourth are the reason that I am here today. The first is become educated. Pay attention in science classes, math classes. We have a lot of problems that we're going to start facing, in particular trying to reduce the amount of waste our society generates or treat our environment in a sustainable manner. Okay? Right now we have ways of doing it, but it requires a lot of energy and a lot of money. And I think we're all realizing we don't have endless supplies of energy or money. So the next challenge is going to try to be to do these processes more efficiently. So I need young people like yourselves who are interested in these kind of things and are passionate about these kind of things to study hard, go to good schools, help us with our research, because ultimately the research I'm doing today in the lab is not going to solve all our problems. The students that are working with me are not going to be able to solve all the problems. You guys are the key to solving these problems. So become educated. And the last one, and not least, is get involved. And you have an opportunity here with the Nautical Coast Cleanup to get your hands dirty, have some fun, get some free food. So with that, I think I will turn it over. And if you guys have any more questions, feel free to ask after I guess everyone's done, and we can have an open forum. But I thank you for your attention, and I will hand this off.
You can just go to the next one. Okay, well, good afternoon. My name is Diane Banks. I'm here with the Macomb County Health Department. And does anybody have any idea what the health department does before I get started? Any ideas? Nobody knows? Okay, thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, yep. We're here to protect public health. Any ideas on how we might do that? Yeah. Well, we inspect all of your restaurants, your school cafeterias, to make sure that they're clean and safe, so when you go out to eat, you don't get sick from the food that you're eating. And if you're interested in how your restaurant does, your favorite restaurant, you can go on our website, which we have right up there on the screen. You can put in your zip code, and it'll bring up all the local restaurants, so you can check that out. But we also deal with water quality. The health department monitors the watershed, the Clinton River watershed, and also Lake St. Clair. We take water samples all year round in the watershed. As long as the water's not frozen, we take water samples. We also take water samples at the beaches. Many of you know there's 4 beaches along Lake St. Clair. There's Metro Beach, which hopefully a lot of you have probably been to before. Also New Baltimore Beach, Memorial Park Beach, and Blossom Heath. And there's also 2 beaches at Stony Creek where we take water samples. Does anybody know what we're looking for when we test the water at the beaches? Yes. E. coli, very good. Do you know what E. coli is? Yeah. Okay, it's bacteria that comes from waste, right? It's an indicator bacteria. It indicates that there's bacteria in the water that's coming from either human or animal waste. So it can come from pet waste, clean up after your pets. It can come from birds, don't feed the birds at the beaches, but it also comes from humans. So that's where I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what the health department does. Thank you. Does anybody know what this is? Anybody? Yeah. Not a sewer. Not a sewer. Close. Somebody said it. Okay, somebody said it. It's a storm drain, right? Storm drain. If it has holes in it, like this one, it is a storm drain. The purpose of that is to prevent flooding. So when it rains, all of our roads and parking lots won't flood. The water will go down the storm drain. Once it goes down the storm drain, it goes directly to a river or lake. It does not get cleaned out. So it is important that you know the difference between storm drains and sewers. Anything that's on the ground surface when it rains can get down these storm drains. So remember, the only thing that should go down a storm drain is rainwater. But unfortunately, with people littering, we have chemicals on our ground surface from cars. When cars are leaking motor oil and gasoline, we have pet waste that people don't clean up. Those things get down our storm drains. With pet waste, obviously that's something that has E. coli in it, so that's something that's getting into the rivers and lakes. But there's also human sources of E. coli, and that's something that the health department looks for. Sometimes we find failing septic systems. If you don't know, a septic system is on-site wastewater treatment for people who live, especially more out in the country. If they aren't connected to the sewers, their wastewater goes out to their front yard or their backyard to get cleaned. Well, septic systems don't last forever. They can stop working properly, and instead of the wastewater going underground to get cleaned, it could actually start coming up to the ground surface, and that has E. coli bacteria in it, so that's another way that E. coli can get into the water. But the health department looks for those sources of E. coli bacteria, and we try to prevent that as much as possible. But there's things that we can all do to try to prevent pollution from getting into Lake St. Clair and the Clinton River. We want to make sure that you guys know what storm drains are. Ask your parents. A lot of adults don't know the differences between storm drains and sewers. We have many people that purposely dump things down the storm drains thinking that they're sewers. There's a lot of involvement with even marking storm drains and making sure people know the difference between the storm drains and sewers. So there's things that we can all do to try to prevent pollution. Think about runoff and all the things that can go into our rivers and our lakes and our storm drains. Of course, the most important thing that all of you can do to try to prevent pollution is to educate others, even your parents or your neighbors, so that everyone knows that we all have an impact. There's things you can do around your house. What happens if you wash your car in your driveway? Where does it go? It goes right down the storm drain. So that's something you can think about. Instead of washing it in the driveway, take it to the car wash. The car washes by law have to use the sewer system where the water will get cleaned. Or wash it on the lawn, on the grass. The soapy, dirty water will soak down into the ground and get trapped by the soil. That soap also actually will prevent mosquitoes because mosquitoes can't lay their eggs on the lawn, so that's a win-win. There's things that we can all do. Just also so you know, the health department does hazardous waste collection. Where once a month we have a collection day if you have any hazardous chemicals around your house. Things like oil, paint, gasoline. You can bring to the health department and we'll recycle it or dispose of it properly. That also includes pharmaceuticals. A couple years ago, there's continuing studies done about that they're finding pharmaceuticals in our drinking water. A lot of people will flush it down the toilet. In fact, if you go to medical school or nursing school, they actually teach you that you're supposed to flush medication down the toilet when you stop using it or it expires. But unfortunately, if it goes to the wastewater treatment plant, they aren't designed to clean those chemicals out of the water. A lot of them can end up in our drinking water. So medication is also something that can be brought to the health department on our hazardous waste drop-off days. I encourage you to visit our website. All that information's on there about the hazardous waste, recycling, and other things that you can do to get involved, and also obviously get involved in the cleanup, help clean up Lake St. Clair and prevent pollution from getting there in the first place.